change the prophecy.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of me breaking down the Tortured Poets Department as tarot cards. I mentioned this in part 1, but this album took over my entire 2024 top songs on Spotify, and I'm so excited to finish breaking down the full Tortured Poets Department because some of my favorite songs from this album are in the second part. They're in the Anthology that was released afterwards. A huge surprise for Swifties when she released 15 additional songs on top of the 16 that were in the original album set. Crazy. Oh my gosh. But I'm so happy for it because this album is a great album through and through. If you're just tuning in and you missed it, I broke down part 1 a few weeks ago, and that is already on my channel. So go check that out. In that video, I also shared a lot of tea around this album, some of the history of who Taylor was seeing at the time, what some of the songs are about, and I'm not going to repeat a lot of that, but I will share snippets of it as it relates to each of the songs I continue to talk about today. Just like last time, I've got a cup of tea in here. I have elderberry lemon tea, but it's in my Swiftie Christmas tumbler, which I know it's not Christmas time. I know, but I love this tumbler, so I'm still going to use it. And then that way you can see most of the Taylor eras on there. I know it's missing some. Speak Now is missing from the middle, and it only really goes till Folklore, and then it's got nothing else on there, but it's okay. It's okay. I love it. I love it anyways. But I know it is missing eras in case anyone comments on that. So get cozy, grab your own cup of tea, and break down the Anthology with me. The first song off of the Anthology is The Black Dog, which I partnered with the 10 of Swords. This song is likely about Joe with the nods to London and some of the lyrics about a deeper shared connection that is now ended. In the song, Taylor's really acknowledging the end of a deep relationship and shares that moment when you realize it's really over and you both have to move on even when you don't know how to. And more than them both moving on, it's this moment where she realizes the other person is moving on. They are taking those first steps while she is still wallowing and figuring out what to even do next. The 10 of Swords card is also about painful endings. It carries a similar imagery to the 8 of Cups that I mentioned in the last episode, that's linked to Fresh Out the Slammer, but generally alludes more to being stabbed in the back and trying to heal from past psychological wounds. The card's imagery shows a woman who has finally gotten up after seeing the first rays of dawn over the horizon. She has been wounded and is still hurting, but she wants to heal. She looks to the light, starting to peek through, and just wants to feel the warmth and move past what's happened. Some of the lines that really resonate to me with this card are, "And it hits me, I just don't understand. I move through the world with the heart broken, my longings stay unspoken, and I hope it's shitty in the Black Dog." Most of the song really hits that sadder note of not wanting to move on, or rather not knowing how to move on, but there is a line in the bridge that notes that time has passed, so she's trying to. 6 weeks of breathing clean air, I still miss the smoke. Even though it's incredibly painful too, and she's still hurting, now I want to sell my house and set fire to all my clothes. She knows that he's stepping forward, so she'll have to too. As a side note, this is one of my favorite songs on the album, and I was so happy when I first heard this. I mean, not happy because it's a sad song, but it made me really love this album because when I listened to the first part that was released, I was taken aback by the tone of the album and what it was about, and then as I started listening to the Anthology, I really really started to like it a lot. Of course, the entire album has grown on me so much, especially as I've re-listened to the songs over time and they've taken on new meaning. But in this one, the lyrics hit so hard and you can really hear the pain in Taylor's voice as she's figuring out how to move forward, especially with how much of the song has an angrier note to it. But at the end, she kind of whispers those final words in a defeated tone, with the last note not even coming out. I still can't believe it, 'cause old habits die scream. White guy, haven't decided yet, but I'm gonna get you back. I'm Gonna Get You Back is partnered with the Knight of Swords. I'm not gonna lie, the song kind of reminds me of Olivia's Get Him Back, but mostly because they both talk about how the phrase get him back can have two different meanings. In the song, Taylor sings about wanting to get him back and take revenge for how he hurt her, but at the same time, she also just wants to get him back to get back together. And there are two meanings to get him back. It could go either way. The song's presumably about Maddie, with some hints to his bicycle and other notes, and anger around the abrupt end to their relationship. The Knight of Swords is all about trying to get to your destination as fast as possible. The knight has one thing on his mind. He wants to run to his goal and towards success. He's determined, ambitious, and has an intensity that's hard to grasp. If he sees a problem, he doesn't wait for anyone. He tries to solve it himself. He's strapped on his crossbow, and nothing can stop him from running to his destination. As he runs, he's impatient. He can't wait to reach his goal, and that makes him all the more impatient as he surges forward. While Taylor doesn't know which path she wants to take yet, she's charging forward and knows she's going to do something. Like the Knight of Swords, she is impatient and is itching to make something happen and is just charging towards it. But she hasn't thought through what will happen if she does catch him. She doesn't know what she's going to do. Pick Your Poison, Babe, I'm poison either way, shows she knows she's running impatiently. She knows it's going to cause some problems, but she doesn't really care about those consequences. I think the line that really sums it up for me is, besides every verse just sharing the same general message the Knight of Swords shares too, is, even if it's handcuffed, I'm leaving here with you. She's the albatross, she is here to destroy you. The next song on the album, The Albatross, is partnered with the Queen of Cups. This card is all about intuition, inner strength, and leading with your heart. In the card, the Queen is sitting, floating in the water halfway between her intuitive mind and her emotional body. She's a masterful healer as she listens to the cues from her heart. As her telepathic heart expands, others begin to respond to her frequency, and she begins to tap into your heart as well, sensing your innermost feelings and adapting to help mirror them back and make you feel comfortable. The reason I think about this card with this song is the bits around how the Queen is able to tune into those around her and adapt. In the song, a man is being cautioned against the albatross because she will fool him and cause him harm. But she doesn't want to harm him. She wants to protect him. The lyric that really makes me think about the Queen of Cups is, I'm the albatross I swept in at the rescue. The devil that you know looks more like an angel. Throughout the verses of the song, there are so many negative thoughts and words about the albatross, calling her a devil, saying that she is going to harm others, but it's only gossip from others. The moment she talks about herself, she only shares her desire to help him and how she too has been in his shoes and in the middle of raining fire. Some believe the song could be about Travis and some of the initial warnings he got against going out with Taylor, but could also generally be about anyone trying to be a part of her life who's been warned away by the media, been warned away by other Karens trying to stir up trouble. But she's not the devil. Named Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, and I just watched it happen. The next song, as we move through this album, is a bit of a mouthful. Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus is partnered with the Four of Swords. This card is about resting and trying to heal in your personal sanctuary away from reality and everything else going on around you. In the card's image, the woman has pushed so hard for so long, and now she can finally take a break from everything. She knows the world will continue to move on, but she needs time to heal her heart and soul before she can venture into the world again. And while she's focused on her healing journey, she's still hurting, and the wounds that have been inflicted are still open and raw. In the song, Taylor talks about sitting at home and suddenly imagining her ex, maybe Maddie, maybe both, I don't know, with someone new crashing through her apartment, taunting her as she says, "I just watch it happen." She reflects back on their relationship and understands why it didn't work. You turned me into an idea of sorts. You needed me, but you needed drugs more, and I couldn't watch it happen. In this final understanding of what happened and the fact that they were never going to work out, she can finally start healing, though she's at the starting point of that journey and still raw from it all. The reason I linked this song to the Four of Swords is because even though her wounds are still open, she's thinking about how she can heal, and she's starting to recuperate. She's looking back at what has transpired and is taking that first step towards not thinking about it all the time. The song ends with, "Say you'll always wonder, 'cause I wonder, will I always wonder." She's not there yet, but she's hoping to heal as she starts to take care of her heart and heal in a safer space. But I still don't know, how did it end? How Did It End is a really great song that really calls out a lot of people about how everyone just wants to know what happened and how things ended before they might even ask how the person's doing and how they're feeling. But yeah, this is a great song, and I have partnered it with Judgment. Judgment is a card all about self-actualization and realization. In the card, there's a harmonic vibration that sounded through the air, one only the woman in the card can hear and answer. As she answers the call and steps into the vibration, she realizes it's asking her to reflect on her truest self and dig deep to meet who she really is. She must embrace the light and the shadow in order to see the full truth, and as she does, the wisdom of judgment will help her find sense of self and assess the path that has been taken till now, and help her find her final sense of purpose. Now, reading the card's meaning, the song doesn't necessarily talk about self-realization and self-purpose, but it kind of reminds me about the beginning of the card and that beginning meaning where you're trying to dig deep and piece everything together. You're trying to understand what happened. The song starts with, "We hereby conduct this postmortem," which is about gathering the facts of what happened and putting together that story of what transpired to make a final judgment call on, was it good, was it bad, was it, I don't know, something in between, most likely that. But throughout the song, Taylor talks about how everyone else wants to know what happened so they can take that gossip and share it with everyone in their circles. In a way, everyone else is serving as the judge to the end of this relationship and taking the bits that they're able to see to draw their own conclusions about Taylor, about the man, and how it reflects on their characters. At the end of the song, Taylor notes that she herself is still on that journey of figuring out what happened and digging deeper to piece the truth together as she says, I still don't know. How did it end? So High School is a very cute song, and I have paired that with the Two of Cups. This card is all about romantic partners and connected hearts. In the card, two people are holding hands, and as they join hands, they're able to draw on the cosmic energy of the universe around them and see how powerful their relationship is. Together, they're able to draw on the world more than they ever could alone. This song it's really sweet, and it has grown on me a lot since the album came out. This song is about Taylor's new relationship with Travis, and if you don't think that's the case, then go back and take a look at the lyrics and see all the hints to football, and then get back to me. I almost linked this song with the Six of Cups, which is a card about nostalgia, but the look back at high school isn't necessarily because Taylor's feeling nostalgic about what she actually experienced in high school, but more that she now feels like she's living out that typical high school dream as she's dating this football star. And the reason I know that was a dream, at least she was aware of, is because in her song 15, she says, well, in your life, you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. Because that's what they cared about at the time. And it's funny because full circle, she is doing that now. I linked this card to the Two of Cups because it feels like a continuation from the Alchemy, which I had linked to the Ace of Cups. So it kind of flows well together. And while that song's about jumping into something new, this song is more about them forming this deeper connection and really falling for each other equally. In Alchemy, it kind of felt more like Taylor was giving into the relationship and just kind of seeing how it'd go, while the other person had definitely already fallen for her, versus now she's also smitten and really falling for her partner. So it's kind of this more equal, dual relationship. Some of the lines that I really like that show they're coming together in this relationship are, and in the blink of a crinkling eye, I'm sinking our fingers entwined. I'll drink what you think and I'm high from smoking your jokes all damn night. You know how to ball, I know Aristotle, brand new, full throttle. And you knew what you wanted and boy, you got her. This whole song is just so sweet and such a nice contrast to the last few, where there's just so much more melancholy and sadness trying to understand what happened in this past relationship, versus this is so much more focused on the future and this new journey she's on. And I talk about this a lot in the first part, so definitely go back there if you want to hear me ramble on and on about this. But having grown up watching Taylor's relationships and seeing some of her different highs and lows from the sidelines, with one of the biggest lows being 2016, which we will get to shortly, it makes my heart so happy and makes me genuinely happy when I see that she is happy and she is so radiant in this relationship. So I hope I don't eat my words, but I'm really hoping this is the one for her and he continues to treat her well. I hate it here, so I will go to secret gardens in my mind. A sharp turn from So High School, we move on to I Hate It Here, which I've partnered with the Four of Cups. As you look at this card, it is the epitome of boredom and apathy. In the card, a woman sits bored, staring into the distance. She's frustrated that the world can't provide her with what she wants, and she's just disappointed with everything in her life right now. To her, it's all just lackluster and it's all just gray. I don't think I need to explain this one too much. The card's about apathy and the song is about hating where you're at and trying to escape to a mental paradise. In the song, Taylor talks about how she's lonely and bitter and hates being rooted to the reality around her, so she creates a paradise in her mind to escape to. I'm lonely, but I'm good. I'm bitter, but I swear I'm fine. Kind of shows where she's at. I love the nod to the book, The Secret Garden. I read it back in elementary or middle school or something, and I thought it was a sweet book, but I also haven't reread it in a really long time, so I could be misremembering it. But from my little Cliff Notes look back, in this book, a little girl is forced to live with her uncle after her parents pass away, and she hates it, but learns of a locked secret garden and focuses on finding the key and then getting access to it. Once she does, she slowly grows happier and generally matures as she tends to the garden and begins helping others around her as well. A very short summary on the book, but the main takeaway is that the secret garden helped bring the girl happiness and is what Taylor thinks of as her escape from the dull reality around her that's only hurt her time after time. It also helps explain the lyrics. I hate it here, so I will go to secret gardens in my mind. People need a key to get to. The only one is mine. I read about it in a book when I was a precocious child. I do play the song a lot when work gets stressful or I generally get tired of some of the stressors in my life. And I'm sure others find it very relatable as well. But yes, another great song, part of why I love the Anthology so much.
Scream thank you, Amy, to the night sky and the stars are stunning.
And now we move on to Thank You, Amy, which I've partnered with the Seven of Swords, but we'll get to that. First, we need to take a journey back to 2016 to explain a lot of the context and background to the song. This song really takes a turn away from the relationship she's been talking about, takes a big turn away from this 1 month situationship with Maddie, and takes us back to when Taylor was canceled by the internet because of a cropped video clip. I need some tea for this tea. For those who became fans after the whole debacle or who weren't aware of it, the drama kind of starts back in 2009 when Kanye interrupted Taylor during her VMA acceptance speech to say that Beyonce should have won instead. And after that, the whole crowd boos Kanye interrupting Taylor, but to Taylor, she thought the crowd was booing her. She talks about how this made her feel and how it kind of was a critical point in her entire journey as her entire music journey, basically, in her documentary Miss Americana, which, by the way, is fantastic. Totally worth watching if you haven't. And something to keep in mind is Taylor was 19 and Kanye was 32 at the time. This man was 13 years older than her. So do with that what you will. I think that's disgusting. I mean, I'm in my mid-20s. I could never imagine trying to upstage or put down a 19-year-old now, more or less, once I'm actually 32. But following that incident, Taylor tried to keep the peace and even forgave him publicly. She wrote a song on her next album called Innocent, which was about how everyone makes mistakes and you can still grow from it and move on. Fast forward 7 years to 2016, Taylor was kind of friends with Kanye and his then wife, Kim Kardashian, despite all the drama. And Kanye released a song, Famous, where he implies that he's the reason Taylor is famous today. He calls her the B word, and he also released a music video which had a naked wax figure of her in his bed. So a lot of things to get really upset about. She stated she didn't agree to any of it, and Kim released this cropped version of a phone call between Taylor and Kanye that she was secretly recording from the side. And basically made it look like Taylor knew all about it, she had agreed to all of it, and was now creating a scene. This caused a ton of stir amongst celebrities, and people started taking sides. Kind of at the same time, Taylor had also broken up with her then boyfriend Calvin Harris, and they had a very public relationship, and the breakup was also pretty messy and also very public. So that also divided a lot of the public on who to support in this feud. And following all this drama, hashtag Taylor Swift is canceled party started trending on Twitter. That means a lot of people were tweeting it. People were commenting snakes on her posts, on her photos, because Kim had said on National Snake Day, oh, they have a holiday for everyone. Oops, I mean everything, clearly implying Taylor Swift. And yeah, the whole internet just shut her down. So she disappeared and took a year away from everything. Yeah, bringing this back to the song, Taylor had a couple songs on different albums since then about this feud. Not as many as I was hoping for on Reputation, but I'm hoping maybe one or two of the Vault songs will be as scathing as this was. But this is definitely the most cutting song, and the first one that really directly attacks Kim for everything that she put Taylor through all those years ago. When you look at the song for the first time and it says "Thank you, Amy," it looks weird because only KIM are capitalized, which is a fun way to show that this is definitely about Kim, even though the narration is about a high school bully. The song takes all of the old hurt and anger that Taylor has at Kim and throws it directly back at her in a very clear manner, going as far as saying, "Everyone knows that my mother is a saintly woman, but she used to say she wished that you were dead," which, in my opinion, is probably one of her most seething lines in a song ever. Now, how does this tie to the Seven of Swords? Let's bring it back to tarot and what this is all about. The Seven of Swords is all about deception and betrayal, which is literally the entire theme of the song. In the card, a man acts stealthily after stealing something from the crow's nest. The crow screams in outrage, saying that something's been taken from her, but she doesn't see the thief who's sneaking away. It embodies trickery and wanting to understand someone's true intentions. In the reverse meaning, like when the card is reversed, it adds more layers of secrets and something being stolen from you. Taylor's life and reputation were taken from her when Kim decided to take her down in 2016, and since then, justice was never really served to even things out. She's screaming in outrage, and it was always the same searing pain, and screamed "F you, Amy" to the night sky as the blood was gushing. Taylor's calling out the BS she had to deal with, but at the same time, she wants to heal and move forward, so she looks at the silver linings too. "'Cause I can't forget the way you made me heal, so I pushed each boulder up that hill. Your words were still ringing in my head. Thank you, Amy." I'm gonna say Taylor's a much better person than I could ever be for the number of times she's forgiven Kim in the past, and that this is the first time she's really expressed how hurt she was, because I would hold that grudge so hard from the start and not have been half the kind person she has been through this.
I look in people's windows, chance fixed by rose golden glows.
Okay, taking a break from the Kim Ye drama, we move to I Look in People's Windows, which I have partnered with the Hermit card. The Hermit is all about inner reflection and soul searching. In the card, a woman walks a path alone with only a lantern to aid her. But as she walks, she realizes the only way to really take time to herself is to let the candle go out and fully tune out the world around her. She closes her eyes as she searches for her truest desires and tries to understand how she can continue to step forward on her path. She knows she wants happiness and she wants it with others, but looks to find the real meaning of those relationships around her. The reason I picked this card for the song is because the lyrics about being alone and trying to catch one last glimmer of the person who isn't in her life anymore really resonated with the hermit to me. It may not necessarily match the message around inner soul searching, but I think they work well together because Taylor's trying to find this glimmer of light around her to help light her path forward as she wanders alone. So I look in people's windows like I'm some deranged weirdo. I attend Christmas parties from outside. When I look at the Hermit card, I'm reminded of that feeling when you take a long exhale and close your eyes to take a moment's rest. And that's also how I feel when she's singing the song, and especially with the last couple lines and how Taylor kind of breathes them out to just get it out of her system.
About if they can redo the prophecy.
If that sounds familiar, it's because it's also the song that I used to help start off part 1 and part 2 of this breakdown. The next song is Prophecy, which I have linked with the star. The star card is about renewed hope and wishes being granted. The woman in the card has emerged from a traumatic path. She takes a moment to sit and look up at the stars, extending the wishes and dreams that live in her heart and connecting to the potential of a brighter future. She looks to the stars with renewed hope and prays that they will grant her wishes. The song is about a woman whose relationship has just ended again. Thought I caught lightning in a bottle, oh, but it's gone again. She's just praying and hoping that her fortune will change and she'll finally meet someone who's right for her. Don't want money, just someone who wants my company. Let it once be me. Who do I have to speak to about if they can redo the prophecy? She's clinging on to the last bits of hope that she can afford. Spending my last coin so someone will tell me it'll be okay. While she's not very hopeful in this moment, those bits of clinging to something happening at any point in her life in the future shows that she also hasn't given up completely. She ends the song with, "But I looked to the sky and said, please," which really mimics the imagery in the stars card of this woman looking up, hoping the stars will fulfill her wishes. It's maybe not a great sign that I relate to so many songs on this album, but this is another really great one that hit very hard when I listened to it.
So they killed Cassandra first, cause she feared the worst and tried to tell the town.
Cassandra is the next song, and it is partnered with the Five of Swords. This jumps back to all the drama with Kim and is again about the feud between Taylor, Kim, and Kanye. To kind of add to what I already talked about, back in 2016, everyone came after Taylor over this false information. Everyone shut her down. Everyone canceled her. Totally believed that she was the villain in this narrative. But then in 2020 or 2021, sometime during the whole COVID blur, the full unedited video of the phone call between Kanye and Taylor was released and showed that Taylor had been telling the truth the entire time. What's funny is some people think that it was Kim's mom who released the video just to kind of get some clout and some attention during a dull period. I don't know if that's true or not, but I just remember seeing that rumor. But even though the truth came out, no one reacted. No one apologized. There was no acknowledgement of this from Kim or Kanye. No accountability to how much pain they brought Taylor in 2016 over something that was false. In the song, Taylor talks about Cassandra, who experienced something similar. Cassandra is part of ancient Greek mythology, and in ancient Greece, the god Apollo fell in love with her and offered her the gift of prophecy. But after she rejected his advances, he cursed her so no one would ever believe her prophecies. So she continually tried to warn others of what would come, but no one ever believed her. And that's just exactly how Taylor felt when she tried to reveal the truth and no one listened to her. And then 4 years later, as the truth came out, no one seems to care. The Five of Swords card is all about conflict, experiencing loss, and hollow victories. In the card, a man shakes his head as he tries to understand what just happened. He was completely overpowered and can't understand how, as he watches his opponent celebrate. The bird on his shoulder whispers that he came with his integrity and will leave with it, having done the best he could. He's been defeated, but he's also learned a lot and left with what he values most. The entire song is about that conflict and loss that the narrator and Cassandra feel because no one believes them. So they filled my cell with snakes, I regret to say. Blood's thick, but nothing like a payroll, but they never spared a prayer for my soul. Both of those hit that feeling. The song also really resonates with the hollow victory meaning in this card, especially as she says, when the truth comes out, it's quiet. They knew the whole time that I was onto something. Everyone knows the truth now, but nothing has changed. So even though the truth that Taylor longed to be out in the open is now, it's nothing but this hollow victory. I don't know if intentional or not. I mean, almost everything Taylor does is super intentional, but Cassandra coming right after the prophecy is pretty cool, especially because of the links back to ancient Greece and the fact that Cassandra was a prophet. So, really cool connection there.
Forgive me, Peter. Please know that I tried to hold on.
We are coming near the end of the album. 4 more songs to break down. This one is Peter, which is partnered with the 5 of Cups. This card is all about grieving, disappointment, and bitterness. In the card, she has 5 cups that were once full, but slowly they've drained away, just like her love and trust in relationships. She has one last cup that's full, but she drains that too as she bitterly thinks about the end of her relationship and no longer trusts that there's happiness. This song ties back to the tale of Peter Pan and Wendy, which Taylor has alluded to before, most notably in her song Cardigan. But in this old tale, Peter took Wendy to Neverland, where children don't have to grow up, but Wendy decided to go back to her family. So over time, she's grown and become more mature while Peter remains his childish self in a land where he never has to grow up. But because of that, the two can no longer be together. The reason I tied the song back to the 5 of Cups is because she held out hope for so long that this relationship would work. And I won't confess that I wanted, but I let the lamp burn. As the men masqueraded, I hoped you'd return. I think the cups in the card that the woman has been draining out bit by bit are similar to Taylor or Wendy's ability to wait for Peter to come back for her and show that he can take care of her now. That patience has been waning bit by bit, and now in this song she drains that last cup out and closes this chapter of her life. But the woman by the window has turned out the light. I used to love Peter Pan as a little kid. I especially loved Tinkerbell. And I always thought it was unfair that Peter and Wendy didn't really end up together. But growing up, I've now realized that Peter chose to stay in this bubble, and You can't be with someone who will never learn from their mistakes, who will never grow with you. So this song the song is really cool in that aspect, and that it feels like a great look into their future and kind of the end of that story. The real end.
Behind her back, her best mates laughed, and they nicknamed her the Bolter.
The Bolter is partnered with the Six of Swords. This card is about transitions and moving past the traumas in your past. Wow, I just said past so many times. In the card, a woman feels lost but stumbles through the fog as she tries to escape. She asks the universe to help her leave this past that she wants to forget behind. And as she approaches the shoreline, she sees a small boat and gets in. She still can't see where she's going because of the fog, but a gust of wind and strong current begin to carry her away, and she just lets it. In the morning, as some light breaks through the fog, she realizes the crows have been helping guide her to a new destination and a new day. This song's about a woman who's known for running from her relationships, though she notes that she only really runs when she can sense that the relationship is falling apart or it's about to fall apart. The verse that I think really resonates with this card is, all her effing lives flash before her eyes. It feels like the time she fell through the eyes, then came out alive. While she talks about bolting in kind of a light manner, that verse shows that every time she leaves, it's still a heavy burden and a painful ending. It feels like she's almost died each time she leaves this relationship, but there's escape in escaping, and she comes out feeling better. The other bit that shows it's a painful ending that's for the better is, ended with the slam of a door, then he'll call her a whore. Wish he wouldn't be sore, but as she was leaving, it felt like breathing. This card's about trying to find the correct path forward, and though she stumbled and taken several wrong paths, confused by the fog around her, she continues to escape and try and pave her way forward, just like the Six of Swords.
Way to go, Tiger.
Okay, the song does not actually have the title of the song in the lyrics anywhere, so I couldn't pull that, but this is Robin, which I am partnering with the One of Pentacles. This card's about new beginnings, especially around manifesting success and new ventures. In the card, a man holds a pentacle or a coin and observes the roots that are growing from it. These roots will help give way to new ideas and new opportunities. He takes a deep breath and prays for what he wants before planting the roots into a magical soil, knowing it'll grow into what he wishes to manifest. In the song, Taylor paints the picture of a child with big dreams slowly rising in the ranks and succeeding in what they envisioned. I tie it to the One of Pentacles because the song's really about dreams and success. Based on the lyrics and the way she is kind of talking to this person, it's likely about a child who has these big dreams and aspirations. So the person in question is at the beginning of their journey, so the ace is perfect for it. And the pentacles are all about success, doing well, manifestations. So yeah, I think it ties well together. Unfortunately, I don't have too much more to say about the song. To be honest, this is probably my least favorite song on the album. I'm sorry to anyone who really loves it, but that's probably just because I don't really relate to it as much, and it doesn't really hit the same way the rest of the album does. But maybe one day it'll grow on me more, but right now it is a skip for me. Sorry.
The only thing that's left is the manuscript.
And with that, we reach the last song on the album, the manuscript, which I have paired with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is all about clarity, and the truth being revealed. In the card, a woman sits at the bottom of a spiral staircase, waiting for enlightenment to hit her. As she waits, everything begins to align and she's able to see glimpses of her higher self and through the distractions to the truth of the world around her. She's hit with a state of clarity and conscious thought as she finally opens her eyes. This is a pretty fitting conclusion for the album as she recounts her relationship and all the evidence of what transpired in the form of a manuscript. Taylor has described this album as kind of a case that is being presented to a jury to explain an incident that happened. In the first part, album breakdown, I read the poem that she shares at the end of the vinyl to kind of help sum up this whole album. And in that summation, she also kind of treats it as this court case. So she has now recounted everything and is kind of summing everything up in the final manuscript that will be presented. And it holds all the evidence, all the truth, all of her final findings about what happened, from how did it end where she didn't know to now this is everything she's got. She can flip the pages to go back and forth between the different moments in her life, and as she does, she finally understands everything that's happened. And the tears fell in synchronicity with the score, and at last she knew what the agony had been for. She finally has clarity on what's happened. She sees the truth of this past relationship, and with that truth, with that closure, she can finally move past it. In that way, she is the Ace of Swords, seeing the truth flash before her and finally feeling everything align. She ends the song and the album with the note about moving forward and moving past the story. Now and then, I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore. And that wraps up the full Tortured Poets Department breakdown. I can't believe I actually broke down all 31 songs for you guys. This was so much fun and definitely a hefty endeavor to actually match up all 31 songs with different tarot cards, make sure they actually blended well. There was actually some meaning. I had to dig deep, especially because I'm not super familiar with my deck yet. I'm still learning what each card means, so it doesn't just come to mind. I have to really look at all the cards laying out together and then read through the meaning of some of them to figure out which one really clicks with which song. But this was so much fun. This was definitely a huge album in my life last year, so I'm really glad I broke it down and I get to share it with all of you. Let me know your thoughts and if you agree or disagree with any of the links I made in the comments. There were definitely some cards I was torn between for some of these songs and other ones that I swapped around because I didn't want any repeats, especially between the original album set and then the anthology. So things kept getting moved around. There are some other tarot cards that probably would work really well with this album that I didn't even get to talk about because it wasn't the final card choice that I made. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. If you enjoy this breakdown, check out my channel. I did another album breakdown for Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. That was the first one that I did. That is up on my channel, as well as the Tortured Poets Department Part 1. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. That is the first set of songs that released as like the original Tortured Poets Department album. I talk so much more about the album lore. I've got a lot of other tidbits in there, so definitely go check it out if you haven't. And if this has at all inspired you to learn more about tarot, check out my podcast episodes where I break down different cards, their meanings, and all the different things that I'm learning as I share my journey of diving into the world of tarot more. So yeah, check it out. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was so much fun, and I don't know which album I'm going to break down next, but don't worry, there will be more of these. If there is an album you would love for me to break down, leave it in the comments and I will definitely try to get to it, as long as I know the artist and I know the album well. Or I will need to spend a lot of time listening to it first. Yeah, thank you. This has been T and Tara with me, Yashna. Thank you for listening to Tea and Tarot with Yashna. This episode was produced, hosted, and edited by me, Yashna Bunsell, and brought to you by Tea Time Podcasts. All card visuals were from the Light Seers deck by Chris Ann. All song snippets and lyrics were from the Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. All images were pulled from different media sources, but primarily Instagram accounts. Outro music was made using SoundRaw. Join me next week for another episode of Tea and Tarot.